Okay, so welcome to this series. So this training is going to be a series through which we're going to be discussing social engineering. We're going to be discussing identity theft. So this intends to be, let's say, a 5-part or a 6-part series. So today is going to be a very first series, which is a follow-up of a voice note based WhatsApp training that was done. So we're going to continue the series over Zoom for the next 5 series. So this is the first series. So today we want to go through some of the basics of identity theft, social engineering, basics of cybersecurity, so that it lays the foundation for us to do bigger things. We expect to OSINT, open source intelligence gathering. We expect to how to protect ourselves on the internet or in the internet, depending on how okay, so now you have okay, so I said that this is like a follow-up. So now somebody just asked the question and said, okay, if an influencer, if somebody tries to mute, somebody tries to steal an identity, let's say you have an influencer, somebody that is huge on Facebook or have large accounts, somebody that have, let's say 1 million followers or 2 million followers, or 3 million followers, and somebody steals his or her account and uses it to do something else. Now, yesterday I made mention of what we call the hack equation. So what do you call the hack equation? So a hack equation is when you have somebody having a motive plus somebody having get to see a vulnerability, somebody try to have a method, then you have a hack. Now, anytime they say somebody's account have been hacked, it then means that something have happened. There have been a compromise. Normally you say hacking is unauthorized access to digital assets. So it can be unauthorized access to, let's say, your phone, your email, your bank account, your intellectual property, your business secret. It can be anything. Once you don't have authorized access, that is a hack. And most of the times, once that hack is meant to cause system malfunction, is meant to cause business discontinuity, you have all of that. Now, if somebody creates a duplicate or a parody Facebook account or Twitter account using the picture, using the bio, using the details of somebody else, that is still a hack. So why do I call that a hack? Or why do I call that identity theft? Because there are several reasons or there are several motives why people are going to hack. So one of it is somebody wants to cause business discontinuity. I hope my spelling is correct. So business discontinuity then means that there's a business that is active, that is running, and somebody wants to make sure that business does not go on again. So somebody can also is trying to do competition analysis, or somebody is trying to do want to have a competitive edge. So in this format, the person is just looking at trade secrets. Okay, what about if somebody comes into Southtech or comes into Top Ford? Top Ford is sponsoring this training. So somebody comes into Top Ford or somebody comes into Southtech and say he wants to enroll for a training. He pays, let's say, 100,000, 150,000 to attend the training. But his goal is not actually the training. What he's looking out for is looking at what kind of intelligence he can gain from attending the training, how the trainers interact, what is their business secret, what is their trade secret, how do they do their stuff, how do they do all of those things. Because maybe the person is trying to replicate or duplicate that particular stuff with another business or in another business. Okay, welcome. If you are joining us in the Zoom call, you can just mute yourself. The record is available. Everybody that have gotten the invite link, you also go to get the Zoom record. The class is on record, so you can just stay calm as you ride on. So the person might be trying to get business intelligence, right? So this is also a reason. Now, somebody can be trying to do this identity theft for fame. Somebody is not interested in money, right? Another person can be money. another person can be fame. He's stealing somebody's identity, maybe because he needs fame, or he's trying to hack because he needs fame. Another person might be for money, because if he creates that, and if he steals that identity, the next thing he might start soliciting for funds. For VIPs, most of the times, for celebrities, for churches, for persons that have affluence, that have a lot of influence, people will create parody accounts, people will create a duplicate account, steal the identity so that they can now say, okay, donation, you can donate to us, you can do this, you can do that. So that happens. So there are quite a number of reasons why people are going to do identity theft. Okay, so Cynthia, confirm if I answered your question.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay, good. 2 more questions before we ride on. Question, please, I need to speak up. I don't want you to type. I would prefer TechnoSpark. It is somebody say I can't hear anything from, I can't hear anything. I hope everybody you can hear me, right? So I need 2 more questions before I ride on. Okay, so in the absence of questions, I'm going to ride on. Okay, now I gave you guys, we did an overview of identity theft yesterday, what identity theft is. So we have some few volunteers that are going to volunteer to transcribe some of the things I did on voice notes. Most of them were random, most of them were from my thoughts. Some of them were just few collections over the internet and expanded on most of those items. So I'll prefer we have them like in a PDF or in a slide so that everybody have a copy. So in the next 48 hours, we have some volunteers. They will make that into a Word document, then into a slide so that you can have that. So we looked at, so I have 5 labs I gave to you. So I'm going to go through them before I move over to what I have today. Okay, I will review the OBJ. I will drop the answers of the objective questions in the group after the call. But for the labs, we're going to walk through them so that you understand some of these things. Okay, so let me pick like 2 or 3. Okay, now let's start with this very first one. Develop cybersecurity policies and procedures. Okay. So who can tell me what an information security policy document is? Who can try? You can try. What's an information security policy? Anybody? You can try. Anybody you can try?
Hello, good evening.
Go ahead.
Yes, information security policy rules and regulations that an organization needs to follow in order to maintain their security posture. And it can come from either the government, the rules and regulation of the government pertaining security, or the rules and regulations set by the organization itself.
Okay, awesome. Nice attempt. I need one more attempt before I read on. Policy. What, when you say information security policy, what do you mean? Okay, let me write on. Now, anytime you hear the word policy, we're just trying to say, how do we do stuffs? Right? So how do we do stuffs? Now, let me expand this a little bit. Now, anytime you have a company that needs to, like you said, when you say that word security posture is a very, very smart word. We use it in the security domain. You know, the way you stand matters a lot. So if you stand properly, it then means that it will be hard for you to fall. If you don't stand properly, anything, any little push, you're off your mark and you can be down. So when we say security posture, we're trying to say, okay, how well can you mitigate attack when they occur? So like everybody, you want to make sure that you don't have vulnerabilities, you don't have loopholes. So what a policy document helps you to do is to make sure that you are in good standing. Now, the point is that how do you actually create an information security policy before we start to review some of these labs? So if you want to create an information security policy, now the process is normally that, number one, the security policy. The first thing normally you would do if you want to create a policy document is that you learn from standard guidelines. Learn from standard guidelines. So I will just review, because of time, I will review only, let's say, 2 of these labs so that we can have time to do some hands-on. I want to do some things on social engineering. I want to do some things on phishing. And I want to also tell you how to create some scripts that you can use to perform social engineering, especially if you're trying to check in your workplace if your team members are very smart, or it will be difficult for them to fall for social engineering attacks. So I want to let you know how to do that. So I just want to consider only 2 of these 5 labs, then we'll proceed to those hands-on. Okay, let's try it on. So I was trying to say that if you need to create an information security policy, you first need to learn from standard guidelines. Now, when we say policy, there are several types of policies. Now, your policy can be, let's say, website policy, right? It can be website, it can be network, it can be cloud, it can be, let's say, password. So there are several other types of policy, right? So if the company is a small company or a small enterprise, they will have one document that is going to cover all of these policies. But if it's a large enterprise, they will have separate documents for each of the types of policies. Now, the thing is that if you want to create a policy for your own organization, one of the first things you want to do is to learn from standard guidelines. And how do you find standard guidelines? You simply just Google, right? You just go to Google. Let's say you are a consulting firm. So you could say info or information security policy, right? For consulting company, right? And you say file type, PDF. I'll drop a guide that is going to help you know how to hack or search Google and get quite a lot, right? So you say information security policy, consulting firm, file type, PDF. What you're telling Google is, please bring and supply me examples of information security policy documents that are in PDF format. I don't just want any kind of document. So you see, this is a medical consulting center, right? So this is their information security policy. I'll open this. This is a global information security policy for Crawford and Company. So that means that this company have, let's say, branches in different parts of the world. So, but this is their all-in-one information security. Then you have Airy Consulting Limited. So this is a UK firm, and this is in 2003. So you also have another consulting firm. This is Talan. So you see, there are quite a lot of them. And the thing there is that when you are searching Google, you say information security policy, you type the name of the company, type of company. Let's say it's an academy. Let's say it's a bank. If you want to get for a bank, you can just change this to bank, right? And you say file type, because the thing is that most of these policy documents will come in PDFs or they will come in Word documents. If you want them in Word documents, let me open this one for this consumer bank and for this small bank. This is the one for CBN. You can now change this to doc, right? Or docx, which is the normal Word document format. I'll hit enter. You see what's going to happen? I'm going to get the documents in Word format. Are you there? right? So you can click on any of them, is in doc format, doc format, doc format. Let's open these ones that are PDFs. Now, so this is the information security policy document of this consulting company. Now, if you scroll down, so let's say you are consulting for a company and is a consulting company, is a medical consulting company, all you're going to be searching out for is what? Information security policy for consulting firm, for medical consulting firms. If you get up to 4, 5, 6, it's a very good start for you to start developing yours. So I'll talk about the several other stages. Okay, so it has an introduction, it has an objective, the policy, then the policy governance and review. So what that means is that who is going to actually govern, who is actually going to control, who is going to actually contribute, or who is going to cause significant change to the document. So that's what we talk about governance. Then you have scope and applicability. So who does this document apply to, right? So you see in this case now it applies to all temporary and subcontracted employees, all partners, consultants. I consulted for a company sometime around 2010, 2011. They had a standing policy where consultants cannot access some of their systems with some external drives and the rest. That is in their policy. And one of the reasons for that was that there was a time they had a malware attack, and the company does a lot of consulting from business developers externally. So if you check the amount of what they have in terms of digital assets or files in their PCs, it's worth hundreds of millions. So imagine them losing that data. So they had to infuse into their policy for all consultants that you cannot come in with a flash drive, a pen drive, an external drive and whatever, because what happened was that they spent quite a lot of money to like do a lot of cleanup and to restore their data back. So some of these attacks is what are the things that are going to make a company to now say, okay, this is our policy, is so that we don't have such kinds of attack. Okay, security management, you have security risks, human resource, communication, you have business security and disaster recovery, so that if something happens, how do we get back on track? They have monitoring and compliance. So we're saying that this our policy, what is it adapting to? Now, the thing is that in as much as you want to look at all the other security policy of other documents to create your own, and most of the times it's going to be versionized, you need to also look at policies from governments, policies from regulators, policies, the regulators can be local, it can be international, right? So this is the normal standard in trying to create your own policy. So the first thing you do is search online, get some policy documents from other people. Now, some of these government or international policy documents are going to be things like HIPAA, right? Freedom Information Act, Health and Safety, depending on your country. Okay, you have some students connecting from Ghana, Nigeria, I don't know. Okay, I think do I have an Australian student? So you have different countries are going to have their regulations. Like in Nigeria, we have the Cybercrime Act. We have the NDPR, National Data Protection Regulation, which is an adaptation of GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. It's an EU regulation. So it tells you how you should collect data, how you should store it, how you should process it, all of those things. So if you're creating your own policy in your workplace or you're consulting for a company, you must make sure that you adhere to some of these standards. Okay. So the next step, if you want to create your own policy document, is that you need to consult internal heads, right? Like your HOD, like your HR, like your legal, like because now, if you create a policy at work and say you should not use maybe their flash drive, or they should not bring their own devices, okay, another type of policy is called the BYOD, right? It's called bring your own device. So some companies have regulations to respect to whether you can bring your device or whether you cannot bring your own device. right? Because if you bring your device and your device is vulnerable, it then means if you bring that device into our network, we can be compromised. So some companies in their regulations, in their policy, you cannot do that. Maximum what the company does is that they will supply you with a device, and they can monitor it using what we call device monitoring applications, right? So HR is going to be the person or the group that's going to enforce. That's why every policy document should have what is going to be the result of you not doing the right thing, right? If you have a policy that just talks a lot but does not back, then it's not a policy, right? So if you want it to make a lot of sense, it must be able to both back then also bite, right? So that if somebody falters the policy, then you know what to do, whether you're going to fine the person or whether you're going to suspend the person or whether you are going to. So there must be something that should happen if somebody breaches or if somebody goes against the company policy. Okay, so that's why you need HR. That's why you need, and also you need HR legal, for instance, if there's a breach or an internal employee did something that compromised the company, legal is very critical. So they need to contribute to that document. They need to look at it. Because if the company is summoned or if somebody files against the company, it's still a legal team that's going to defend that company. So they need an input to that document. Of course, in summary, another thing you can do is to now draft the document, then seek approval, then you want to train, then you want to revise from time to time. Now, that's why you see every policy document is going to have a, what's it called? It's going to have a version, right? Now, who can tell me why policy documents have versions? Can somebody try? Why do, look at this one, have a, this is 5.2. Why do policy documents have versions? Anybody can attempt?
Yeah, it's supposed to be update on the policy.
So why do we update? What would be the reason why?
With the recent situation of things in the organization.
Okay, so this in the organization can change, right? Do we know that aside having vulnerability, aside having a loophole in our systems, in our softwares, in our application, we can have a vulnerability, we can have a loophole in our policy. Is it possible?
Yeah, it's possible.
Any other person agree to that?
Yes, it's possible.
How is it possible that we have a vulnerability in the guideline, in the document that we created that people should use so that we are secured? How is it going to be possible?
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Because the environment is dynamic, and hackers or people who are seeking to penetrate a system are also dynamic. They're always thinking.
Okay, so if for instance, okay, thank you very much. So if for instance we said that consultants can have access to ABC, and we find out that over time people abused it and we became compromised, it then means that what they did was as a result of us giving them permission to do it. And what gave them the permission to do it is the policy document. It then means the policy document was vulnerable. So we need to do what? We need to upgrade or we need to adapt that particular document to be able to cover up for most of those things. And we retrain everybody afresh. Does that make sense? So that's why you have version 1, version 1.1. So if it's a major change, you say version 1.1, 1.2. If it's a minor change, 1.1, 1.2. If it's a major change, you have something like version 2, then version 3, all of that like that. Okay, so hope it's very clear what we mean by a security policy, what we mean by a security policy, and how you can set up one. I can do a short tutorial on the channel later on so that I can draft one live in the recording so that you can see how it can be done. But this is just like an overview. So this takes me back to one of the labs that I was talking about what was it called? That was talking about develop security policies and procedure. So let's look at some of the items. So scenario, healthcare, Acme Healthcare, this is like a sample company, runs over 25 medical facilities, including patient care, diagnostics, outpatient, emergency. Okay, they experienced several data breaches over the last 5 years, and it cost the organizations quite a lot. Okay, so the executive leadership team hired a new CISO, and one of the things they wanted to do is to help them audit and check up some things. And one of the things they found out was that several accounts were identified for employees that no longer employed. So if in your policy, in your password policy, you don't state how accounts should be disabled, like in the bank, when I was in the bank, if you see that your account is not working again, you in your mind, you're thinking, oh, is it that I've been fired or I'm under probation or something is happening or whatever? Because a good standard is if somebody is no longer in an environment, the person can no longer receive email, or you can forward the emails to another person that's going to take over, and you can pause that email, or you do something to make sure that they no longer have access to that particular email. So you have password expiration was not standardized. So some companies are going to tell you, okay, every 3 months, if you don't change the password, automatically you are logged out. So you are forced to change the password, and several other items. Okay, so now you have read the scenario, given scenario above, watch the information security policy video. How many of us watched this video? Anybody? Anybody watch the video? Anybody watch the video? Anybody did this particular lab? Let me know.
Nope, me, I didn't.
Questions, your questions were all gotten from ChatGPT, right? What is the primary goal of social engineering attack? So I'll respond this, I'll give the correct answers in the group before I go to bed. But for your, sorry, just a moment. Okay, back to this, this particular lab. So I will give you the correct answers to this. For those that says, okay, I don't understand how to go about the lab. So you see, it's detailed. There's an introduction. You need to calm down. Like I said, you have 33% definition and concept. So you need to settle down and understand stuff. Then another part of what you should be able to do when it comes to security is that you should be able to use some tools, some tips, some techniques, which is what I'm going to do within the next 30 minutes once I've reviewed some of these labs. Then countermeasures. Countermeasures is, what am I going to do if something happens? Right? So vulnerability assessment is that you want to find out how is something, if I have a file, if I have a website, how do I know that it's a vulnerable website? Then penetration testing is that you are trying to hack, you're trying to simulate an attack to see if that thing that is vulnerable, it's possible that you are compromised, because it's not everything that is vulnerable that can be hacked. Let me give an example. Let's say you have a door at your entrance, at the entrance of your building. That door is weak, kind of. Now, is the door vulnerable? The answer is yes. Now, does it mean that you can just push the door and open the door? It's not always the case. There might be a complementary countermeasure. Behind that door, you can have iron bars, right? So the door maybe were just used for a decoy. You might have iron bars protecting that particular door. So there is no how you can just come in the night and push. That's why for hackers, if they need to hack or attempt anything, they go through a process of first doing some reconnaissance. They first do some footprints. They start to look around and see what is possible and what is not possible. That's why if a thief goes to a place to steal, what a good one will do is to first understand the terrain. So the same thing applies to cybersecurity. So most people want to first do reconnaissance. At times you call it recon. At times you call it footprinting. Then the next thing they want to do is they want to scan. Then next thing they want to do is they want to gain access. The next thing they want to do, they want to maintain the access. The last thing they want to do is clear tracks. So for those that don't clear their tracks, right? The class tracks are not cleared. What happens is that a security analyst, when you come in, the first thing you want to do is reconnaissance. You want to check what happened. You want to check the footprints, which some of the things we're going to be doing after we review this lab. Okay. So you see, these are fundamentals, right? So you read some of these things. You open these links. These are the requirements. You read it. Watch this video. Watch this. You see the scenario, right? Then I'm going to supply the answer. If I click the here, I'm going to see the answer to all of this. Is all the things that you're supposed to fill in here, right? So after today's class, I'm going to mail everyone the answers, or I'm going to provide it in the group. Is that fine? So that you can review that yourself. See vulnerability,
Yes.
recommended policy, justification. Vulnerability. So for all of them, right, I will work on the, so this is the second part. Develop, if you want to develop a policy document, some of the steps, some of the guidelines, right? So same thing for, okay, someone is asking a question. So same thing for the second one, create a personal code of conduct. Now, you see, you need to have, normally I would tell students to sign a code of conduct, or they should sign an NDA document. I think it's something like this, as NDA. Cybersecurity NDA. Let me see if I can get the document. Okay, just give me a second. So that's why a code of conduct is very crucial, because whatever you're learning is always and should be for good intent, because you really want to stop the bad guys. And if you want to do that, then your reasons have to be right. So let's review some of them. So we have what we call the utilitarian ethics approach. So what is the utilitarian ethics approach? So you want to maximize greatest good for most people. So the idea is that you're not trying to do anything that is going to harm, right, a good amount of person. So you want to make sure that whatever thing you do when it comes to cybersecurity is for common good, right? That's what they call the utilitarian ethics approach. Then you have what they call right approach to ethical decision making. So what's the answer? Fundamental rights of the individual and how we live our lives, as well as respecting others. Take, for instance, privacy. Privacy is very crucial. Like, we're going to be learning how to create some scripts, do social engineering, or how people can send. Imagine, for instance, you want to know that you want to know where somebody is located. Who can try? Who can attempt? Let me see what I have on the call. Let's say Cynthia wants to know where Femi Ayobami is living. So how can you achieve that as a security analyst? Who can try? I want to talk about fundamental rights of the individual, right? Respecting others. So, but let's use a case study. Let's look at Cynthia, for instance, trying to know where Abayomi lives, or trying to know where Abiodun lives, and she wants to achieve that. Who can attempt? How do you achieve that? How do you get to achieve that? We learned social engineering yesterday, right? I'm waiting for answers, please.
Yes.
Without him or her knowing.
Okay, is it
Hello?
Yes.
you gain as you do it by first of all gaining access?
How? That's the question. How? walk me through what you're going to do.
Okay. Maybe probably I can use WhatsApp location. Maybe
WhatsApp location.
send him a personalized message and then drop the WhatsApp link by encrypting it to a tiny link, not a tiny link, convert long links into a short.
You're not audible. Like, speak up so we can hear you very. Line is breaking.
You will fish.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, what I'm saying is WhatsApp has a location link that you can use. Maybe send the person a personalized, using social engineering now, send him or her a personalized message, asking to click the link. Once he or she clicks that link, I can from my own end that where the location of the person is.
But you still did not ask. You just told me how. You didn't tell me, okay, how do I get a link? How do I, would he be willing to click on the link? So how?
Engaging the person using social engineering by sending, okay, you click on this link. This link will actually give you access to scholarship, whatever is better. But
okay,
the other,
very good attempt.
Okay, so let me try.
But you've already gotten Expo. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, can I say something? Good evening, sir.
By using information communication.
So the question is, you see, Mr. Abby tried a lot. You are speaking a lot of grammar. Who else again?
So can I say something? Good
Yes, go
evening.
ahead, Sunday.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Sunday, go ahead.
Okay, I usually use a location tracker, which is a mobile app. Though I don't know if it's actually licensed, but most times it's not accurate, but it gives you location of this.
Okay, so
where the person is.
So what you're saying just looks like or sounds like what Abby was trying to say. So, which is correct. Okay, Okoye, you're trying to say something. Go ahead.
I would expect that Cynthia would first of all send a friend request, trying to be friendly, with Femi,
Awesome.
so that when she begins to now say, okay, I would like to come and visit you. Is it possible that we can hang out and all that? Femi will be at rest, will be comfortable to be able to release some information because he is also looking for a lady and all that, so with that, she can actually run rings around him and get some information that she requires.
Okay, good. So very, very, I love this scenario because now for you to do anything, you need to play out 2, 3, 4, 5 scenarios because not everything is going to work, right? Okay, somebody's typing something. Okay, somebody says, Abiodun say, I can send he dropped this on the chat. He said, okay, I can send a phishing email to the person, making it urgent. I can send a phishing email, making it look urgent. I might spoof another person's IP, probably close to her, to make the mail look legit. From clicking the link in the email, I can carry out the rest of my actions. Okay, so this is nice. Because everybody will do some, okay, somebody else is typing something. It seems nobody's hearing me. I've tried to answer since. Okay, somebody's using an Infinix S5 to try to connect. You just leave the call and return to the call, but make sure you join the meeting audio. That's the only way you can actually hear us. Okay, so nice attempt. So you can use a location tracker. Examples of location tracker, just go to Google and say location tracker, let's say link, let's say you can say location tracker online. There's so many of them. I don't want it to be a mobile app. I just want it to be a website via link. Let's say via link. Okay, IP logger, scanner, we can use something like this. Okay, everybody, if you're taking your notes, you can take note of this. You can take note of this website. But I want to tell you how to create yours also. This is iplogger.org, right? So what this does is that you can actually put a URL, right, or a link or something and generate a short link for it. Now, but the thing is that when you're trying to do social engineering, one of the first things you want to do is to first understand the person you're doing social engineering of. Let's say somebody stole the phone or somebody stole money. You have the person's phone number. You've taken time to understand that the person is on WhatsApp. You don't know the person's location. Of course, you could pay for tracking either through police. You have some agents that will collect, let's say, 50,000 naira, 100,000 naira, or depending the amount, the country where you are connecting from, they'll collect an amount to track. But I'm telling you, if you want to do some things that are discreet without spending a dime, so this is a way to do it. So you have to first investigate and understand what the likes, what the dislikes, especially what the person is after. And that is where reconnaissance comes in. In reconnaissance, you try to understand the target, to try to understand what the person is going to be loving. Somebody mentioned scholarship, right? If this person is liking scholarship, or you search through the person's handle. That's why yesterday we talked about you updating maybe your handles, and you are saying a lot of things that are so personal that can be used against you. These days, if you go to Fiverr, how many of us know what is called hack value? Hack value. Anybody can try hack value. Hack value.
Yes.
Well, let me try.
I heard the lady's voice. What's the person's name?
Okay. It's Cynthia. What I understood.
Okay, hold on,
is that-
Cynthia. Hold on.
Okay.
I know it's ladies
Okay.
first, but at times, let's do some bias. Oh yeah, the guy should speak up, please.
Let me talk.
Oh yeah, so you want to take her position? You can go ahead.
Okay, I think hack value is the value you, or let me say the benefit you get from the hacking you do after it's successful.
Okay, so Cynthia, is it different from what you wanted to do? What I wanted to say?
It's the same, just an addition. It's a kind of motive. It's a motive.
Yeah.
Vulnerability, Abby, or you mentioned it in that
Okay,
video.
so hack value is just what is the benefit? And the
Yes.
benefit is going to
The motive
differ
of the
from one
hacker.
person to the other, right?
Yes.
The benefit is going to differ from one person to the other. So somebody's benefits can be, let's say, $1 million. It can be $500. It can be $100. So depending on the person's value, that's what will now tell how much the person should spend to get a particular value. If it's competitive intelligence, it can be worth millions of naira or millions of dollars. That means the person can spend hundreds of thousands of naira, hundreds of thousands of dollars. True or false? So if the goal
True.
is to hunt or recruit the best heads from a particular firm, a lot of banks do it, right? The best heads from a particular corporation to somewhere else. And at times, that can even be for, yes, it's still hacking, but it's even for some kind of good, but it's just a kind of competition. But if it is even for somebody that wants to swindle somebody of his money, Somebody can spend $10, $25, even if you don't know how to build a website, right? You could come to Fiverr, get somebody that will do a website for $5, $10, $20, something very affordable, right? Or $30. You build something simple. And on that website, you're going to have quite a lot of things. You can even have security installed on the website, that's SSL. You can have quite a lot of things going on. Somebody can have past clients, call some big names, some big banks, some big whatever. And since they know that you are interested in such kind of things, and they can drop a vacancy and put up a vacancy and send it out, and a lot of people are going to apply, but the goal is to gather a lot of CVs, a lot of intelligence on these persons and to commit further social engineering on them. That's why at times when you see some kind of emails or when you see some kind of text messages, they don't just come ordinarily. It's as a result of the footprint that you have been leaving over time, right? So, for instance, this particular website, I could just say, okay, I want to send somebody to, let's say, soutechventures.com/cybersecurity resources, right? So this is a website where you have some things, some penetration testing, cybersecurity essentials, networking, on all of that, right? So this is where I want to take people to, right? Now, but the thing now is that I will, on this link, I will drop this and I say, okay, please create me a short link. I will click on this. It's going to generate a short link for me. And once it generates a short link for me, I hope it does that and doesn't tell me to register. Okay, good. So this is the short link it has told me to, it has provided for me, right? So I'll tap on this. So what will happen is that, okay, this is it, good. I will drop this on the link and I will drop this on the chat and I want everybody to click on it. So what will happen is that this is going to give you some form of estimate with respect to, so I'll put the link here. So it's going to give an estimate. So everybody can just click on it for learning purpose. You see what happened? It will redirect to this particular website. But if you go back and scroll down, you can be able to track all the IP addresses of everybody that have actually clicked on that link. Now, we're going to learn how to do this by our own self. But I need more people to click on it so that I can do more explanation. Have we got more people click on the link? Okay, awesome. Okay, that's fine. So you see, everybody, the very first person, I think it was me. This is the IP address. Look at this other person, the IP address, the IP address, the IP address, the IP address. It tells us the IP address. It tells us the device the person is using, right? The device tells you the page the person is coming from. Okay, somebody is asking a question. Yes, the session is recorded, so we're going to have it available. Okay, so the device indicator, there are more information. So if you click on this very first person, for instance, okay, let us click on this person. So it's going to give you an estimate of where the person possibly might be located. Now, if you want to get more clearer details, okay, so I have something like this IP address. So this person is somewhere in Lagos. Okay, in our class, do we have anybody in Victoria Island? Anybody? Or anybody somewhere around, anybody around this ASICS? Anybody in the call? Anybody? Okay, I have, okay, somebody said yes. So I've gotten one person. So let's check another one. I'm seeing somebody Enugu. Anybody from Enugu here? Anybody in the call in Enugu? You can just use the chat or you can just speak up. Anybody connecting from Enugu using an Android 8, using Chrome browser, this is the person's IP address. I'll talk about this IP address shortly. Okay, she's trying to load. Anybody? I need replies. I need replies before we move on.
Sorry, sir. What did you ask? I was on call, please. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I was asking anybody that is connecting from Enugu that clicked on this particular link. So we have a latitude, we have a longitude. So this kind of gives you an estimate, for instance, if you want to use this site. Now, the thing is that somebody might not want to click on this link, right? So, but you can shorten it further. You can use a tool like, if you Google and say URL shortener, right? I like to use Bitly or use tinyURL. That's why you see some people, they don't like to click on links that they cannot see fully. It's a nice countermeasure, right? You don't want to click on a link that you're not seeing. Look at something like this. And I say cybersecurity training 2024. Right? What will happen is that if I sign up and get my link, the name of the website is bitly.com. If you sign up, you can do this. Just create a short link, put your original link, you can sign up and generate a new link, right? Now, this is what you're going to send to the person, bit.ly cybersecurity. So when the person clicks on it, he's going to land at that Sautech courses page, but you can actually grab details or get the person's information from this log. Okay, now the question is that, okay, let me try this, shorten URL. Type your link here. Okay. Cybersecurity course 2024. Shorten URL. Okay, these guys, standing URL, they've really rebranded URL domain bad. How many of us can see what is happening? So this standing URL, they know that people are actually doing exactly what I'm doing now, right? So they banned this guy. Okay, but it's possible for you to even create your own URL shortener, but that is going to involve some programming. Okay, let me do something very fast. How many of us here can do basic? How many of us have idea about web programming? Anybody? Let me confirm before I do what I want to do. Anybody in the room? Anybody that have any basic, any experience whatsoever in programming? Anybody?
I do.
Okay.
What
language?
JavaScript and Vue.
So why you say got that
Sorry, I thought you want backend. I only focus on frontend.
Yes, you can still use JavaScript to do it. So any other person? Anybody? Okay, let's do something very simple. So if you're not into programming, you can just watch, and it's something you can also replicate. Okay, let me go to ChatGPT and say, okay, but let me do this last. Let me cover, so if it takes a longer time, I would have covered quite a lot of things. So what I just want to do is to tell ChatGPT to, just a second. What I want to do is to hide floating chart. Let me create a new chart, collapse this. I just want to tell, okay, let's say I want to use JavaScript, I want to use PHP. I can say, okay, I need a simple script in PHP or JavaScript that can track website visitors, browser details, IP address, location. What else again? What else did this guy tell us? Did he give to us? Browser, location, dates. You can say dates. Dates. You said something? Dates.
Device names.
Is clicked. Come again. Device
name.
Device name, device operating system. Okay, let's stop here. So now, if you want to do quite a lot in security, this is the best time for you to start understanding some basics in programming. So programming and networking, these are two important aspects in cybersecurity, right? So on the channel, I have a complete series on networking. I also have a series on programming. So what you want to do is that you want to understand some of these basics because it gives you an edge. Even if you're not going to actively program, you can actually do some of these things with some scripts and achieve what you intend to achieve. So I'll just hit enter and see what it brings out for me. Okay, so so if you see what is happening here, it's telling us that okay, let me just examine. Okay, so it's telling us that tracking website visitors and collecting information like browser details, IP address, dates, location, can be done using a combination of PHP and JavaScript. Keep in mind that tracking user information raises privacy concerns. So this is a policy issue. This is GDPR, right? This is a regulation. And you should comply with privacy regulation, like I said, and inform users about your tracking practices through a privacy policy. So here's an example of a PHP and a JavaScript. So you have a PHP script, tracker.php, right? Of course, you can rename it to something else. So you see, there's an IP address, there's a server name, you have a browser, you have a date, get an additional information from third-party API. So now the thing is that what's an API? So an API is just what we call application programmable interface. So what it does for us is that on a good day, we cannot collect some of this information if we don't have details of all the different types of browsers, all the different types of ISPs, all the different types of these items. So an API is just like a website that is going to have all of these details. So if we connect to the API, the application programmable interface, it then means that we're able to grab all of those details on our own application. So what it means is that ChatGPT is suggesting that we create an account with api.ipstack.com. So if you create an account here, we need to go and collect our IP stack access key. So it just typically, if we sign up on the website, it will get a key and we will replace it with some of these things and we are good to go. So let me just go to ipstack.com and see what it looks like. Let's wait for that to load. Okay, so what else again? So this is the part where it's now trying to log the visitor's information to a file, right? But we can also tell you that we don't want to log it to a file. We just want to have a separate page where we can be tracking all of this stuff like this IP logger did for us, right? We can just tell it we want a new page where we can be tracking all of this. And if this is for a person that we're trying to track, it's still very possible. So, so this is the front page of the site. So we will need to now put that script on a page. So we have your domain.com, that is, let's say, southernventure.com/tracker.php, right? So this code now that we have here, all of this code here, once we change the key that we're going to get, we'll just replace it and have it on this site. So we're going to tell the person, when we bring the person to this page, the person will now click here. Once the person clicks on it, automatically it's going to log all of those details, the person's details. Let's see this website, what is here. Okay, IP stack. So what does this website do for us? Awesome, excellent. I didn't even know that there's a website that does these details. Look at this one. It can give us the IP address, the continent name, the location, the city, the zip code, the latitude and the person's longitude, the person's currency, and all of those details. Okay, awesome. So 100 requests per month can be done free. Then if you also want real-time IP to geolocation API, we just spend $11. You remember I talked about hack value. So imagine if we want to do something big, we can actually, or if we want to track 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%, then we can pay this and pay it per month. And let's see the pricing in detail. So I'm actually going to register on this site. I don't have an account here. Let me get free API key. Okay, I want something. How many of us are following? If you are following, let me know. If you are lost, let me know also.
We are watching.
You're observing.
Okay, so you see this IP stack, you know, what we did was that we're trying to track somebody, or we're trying to track a particular target, and we used a tool like IP logger. Now we're trying to do it ourselves. We're trying to create the application ourselves. Though this is beyond the scope of this training, but I also want you to understand how this works, right? So I'll just create this free. I'll select this free, is recommended. I want to pay monthly and I want to get click on this. So I will set up a free account, free, first name, my name is Victor, my surname is Chidi, my email is saltechremote@gmail.com. Credit card number, it's compulsory, so I can't use this site, right? So I want something that I don't have to put in an account, a card number, or I have a dollar card that I can create just a $1 bill for this, but I might not be able to do that in this class. So what is going to happen there? I'll have a follow-up to this. So that means I cannot use IP stack. Let me ask it back again. I don't want to use IP stack. Can you suggest other free IP third party API that's free? How many of us understand what is happening now, what I'm trying to do?
Understand, sir. Understand.
So because that one is saying I should put my card details.
Sir, because I just connected, sir.
Which I don't want to do. So let me try this one, IP info. This one also can give us details about people's details and the rest. Let's see. You see, this one can tell us the person's IP address, the person's city, the person's region, the person's location, latitude and longitude, the person's network. You see, I think it has grabbed my own. This is for me. Right? And let me see whether this location is correct. You know, some of us students, when we're learning geography in school, we're not paying attention. We were not interested.
Seriously, sir.
When the teacher was saying latitude, it says, sir, what is all this latitude and longitude? Please, can you just finish your geography class and just leave us? We're not going to use all of these things.
All right, sir.
Here you go. So this location it's getting is actually the location for the ISP. Let me confirm. Okay, I think it's for the ISP. Airtel privacy false, Airtel bidding. Okay, so this is the, what's it called? So this is the the IP address of the network, not my IP address. We get that? How many of us know how to use whois? Because if I said something like, what is my IP address? What is my IP address? I'm going to get something like this. Just go to Google and say, what's my IP address? I get 105.112.112.146, right? If I copy this and put this on whois.com/whois, right? I could be able to tell still loading. Put it here. So whois.com/whois, if I search on this, I should be able to tell who have this IP address, but this is going to be the ISP. See, that's why it's showing Airtel Nigeria. That's why it's also showing this A Banana, 5th floor, Wing B, Foreshore Estate, Banana Island, Ikoyi, Lagos, which is same thing we are saying here, right? Correct?
Yes.
So it's not giving us our own IP address, right? It's not giving us our own IP address. Okay, but I'll still go ahead and try to see if I can register on this site and see if I can create something. Okay, let me sign in with Google and see if it works. I don't want that. I want another email altogether. This. Continue. Okay, so I will need to get, I think, okay, good. So this is my API token for all requests. It's like my access key. So IP info, so I will go back. Please recreate the script using IP info with PHP JavaScript. I will host this application and send a link to you guys. You guys will see it, even if we don't finish today. So are you seeing what is happening? It has rewritten the code for us and told us that, are you seeing? IP, it's not using IP info. Who is following or who is lost?
Yeah, here.
I didn't say who is here. I said who is following.
You are following.
I'm following.
I'm lost. I'm lost.
Okay, don't worry. When you take a rewatch, or I can do a shortened version and just walk you through. This is not planned, and just walk through so that you can try to replicate something, or you pick up something in programming so that you can actually create your stuff. There are several scripts you can create yourself to achieve several kind of things if you understand some of these fundamentals. But for the purpose is that I want to show you how these things can be created without you relying on a third party or relying with an application. Because if you see, you find out that it was not possible for us to use Bitly to like shorten them, because it was saying that this URL have been, many people have compromised it. So that's so that somebody can build a site that looks legitimate, but he's using it for phishing. True or false? So to do that, the person will need a little bit of programming skills, or just hire somebody and pay a token, and that thing is set up. So that you see a site and everything looks legit does not mean that it is legit. Right? Because the person might not be using whatever. So, okay, so here's this, below is this example of tracking script using the info API with PHP and JavaScript. So this is the PHP and this is the JavaScript. Okay, So I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a hosting account. Let me just go to a hosting account and host this particular application and give you guys a link and let us do a final test. A few moments. Okay, somebody is asking a question. It is more clearer why drone is easily used to target someone, especially when you're using your phone or... Okay, is it more clearer why drone? I don't understand this question. Maybe if you can use a voice so I can get to understand you properly. Okay, just a second. So I mean, what we call a cPanel. So this is like a cPanel account. So if you want to set up a website, one of the first things you want to do is to buy a domain name and hosting account. Once you buy a domain name and hosting account, let's say you can buy a .gh, .ghana, or .com.ng, or .com, or .net. You can buy a domain name account, and you should be able to replicate exactly what I'm doing now. So once you buy a website name, you're going to be given what we call a cPanel, a control panel. So a control panel will be able to help you host your applications and host your website. So if you log in, you will see something like this. So if you're new to programming, you can just watch, you can just follow. I will explain everything I'm doing. I'll click on my file manager. I will go to my www folder. I will create a new folder and maybe I will call this IP tracker, right? Or location tracker, right? So that is a folder I've just created now, right? So if you, that means if you check southtechventures.com/location tracker, we'll see something like this, right? So this is blank, nothing is here. So the next thing I want to do is I have it gave me a PHP file, which is this, right? I will grab it. So this is the location, this is the empty space. I'll just create a file and call it tracker.php, right? Create it. Or let me rename it to something like, cyber security, right? Then I will just edit the file. So I have a very blank file here. So I'll just paste my code, the code I cut from, let me copy this code and just paste it here. Right, so this is the code I got. And the only thing I'm going to change here is my access key, right? From ipinfo.io. Right, I'm just going to change this stuff. I think that's the only thing. They say replace with your actual info, right? I think that's all. So I'll go to the stuff, token. I copy this. I go to this place and just place it here, right? I think that's fine. I will save it. I think that should be all. Then the next thing I do, I go to the script and the script says, okay, there is still another index.html, right? I will tell it, please, can you convert this to index.php instead. So I really want it to be, okay, so it has done that. I will just copy this and go back here and create a, now why is it index.php? Because the very first file that you get to when you, when you set up a website is your index page, right? That's why most of the times when you go to, it's just like if you buy a textbook, the index page is where you have some keywords that leads you to different parts of the book. So in a website also, when you say index page, most of the times is the home page. So I will say index.php, create a new file. I've created it. Let me refresh. It's not showing. Okay, this is it. I'll edit. It loads up and I just paste it here. So I think hope I copied the correct thing. Sorry. So this is let me copy this again, make sure it's the correct thing. Sorry, not this one. This one. Okay, good. So get visitors information, get additional info, replace with your actual, okay, it's still asking me to replace this. Okay, let me check. Okay, it seems it combined everything into one code from the instruction that I gave. Here's the modified version where the HTML. Okay, good, good. So I think I don't need the other one. So this is just everything in one place. Imagine what I instructed it to do actually for it to just convert that it's two files to give to me. I wanted to convert the index, the HTML to just a what's it called? A PHP. But when I saw the code, I found that everything became into one file. Okay, so that means only this is sufficient for me. I don't need this other one. So I will just remove the other one. I will copy this and replace it. So just only this part and I should be fine. Another thing, replace your domain with your actual domain. So this is going to be Saba. So this is going to be what's the name of the folder again? Location tracker. Location tracker. So this is HTTPS www. I'll replace it with my website name, saltechventures.com, right, / IP location tracker / what was it called? Where are we again? Location tracker index.php. I think index.php. Then URL Unicode. So this is where it is heading to. I'll look at this later on, but let me just refresh and see what I have. Okay, I will go back to this, my code, and I will delete this old one I did, and I will just refresh this site. I'll just refresh this and see what I have. Okay, so it seems blank. Let me try index.php. Let me view page source. Okay, still doesn't show anything. Okay, let's do some troubleshooting. Okay, so we have a little glitch. So this is where we ended in the script. So we have something like this. Forget location tracker. So we have something like this. So the last lap of this particular script is going to create a page where we can actually see everything that is tracked once somebody clicks on this link, right? So it's like you send somebody to a link, and once the person clicks on the link, then the person's all of those details can be grabbed. Details like all of the things we have here, right? The geolocation, privacy detection, all of these stuffs, we can actually grab them by creating a script that we set up by ourselves. Okay, now let me just talk a little bit about the OSINT framework. Now, if you want to gather information about things, people, things like usernames, things like email address, things like domains, IP address, images, videos, social networking sites, Instat. So you have quite a mirage of different items. Now, who can tell me the full meaning of OSINT?
Open source intelligence.
Open source intelligence.
So open source intelligence. So OSINT is a type of intelligence gathering. So there's a documentation by, I think, the US library where they talk about, I think US Library of Congress, where they talk about intelligence, right? Different types of intelligence. Right? I think they have a military documentation. Let me say OSINT humans. Okay, this is it, right? So you have different types of intelligence gathering. In cybersecurity, you have quite a lot, but I want to focus on OSINT. So OSINT typically means any type of data, any type of information that you can gather over the internet. So some basics to be able to protect yourself online is just like a case study of somebody that actually collected money from somebody, and what I had was just the person's phone number, I think maybe email or so. So we need to understand the person to some great extent, and a very simple way to be able to do that is by using OSINT. It's by using online scripts and online tools that you can use to be able to grab such kind of information about the person's, maybe the person's occupation. But there's a caveat here. You can only gather information that is already available. If the person was kind of stealed, I mean, the person was kind of not putting out quite a lot online, so that means that you're going to do a lot of work, then you have to do a lot of social engineering added to it. So OSINT is just among several other types like MASINT, like MINT, like SYNGINT, like HUMINT. HUMINT is also very popular. So HUMINT adapts some form of social engineering where you are asking questions, you are trying to interview, you are trying to look at people and try to see what kind of information you can grab from them to be able to lead you to do other things or take other decisions. Now, there are several open source intelligence gathering tools. Now, but I want us to focus on this OSINT framework. So what I want you to do as an assignment is to come to this site. It's called osintframework.com. How many of us before now have or is aware of this site, osintframework.com? Anybody?
I'm aware of it.
Okay, anybody else?
I'm aware.
Okay, anybody else?
I'm aware.
Okay, anybody else?
I'm aware.
I'm not aware.
Okay, so I have like 3-4 students in like 20 students, like about 15% thereabout. Let me check. Divide by 22, that's like 18% students. So 18% of us were aware of this platform. Now, so if you're aware of the platform or you're not aware of the platform, there are several things you can do with this. So you have telephone numbers, you have domain names, you have usernames. So if you have a particular username, so if you have a particular username, the username can be from a social network. If it's a social network, you will click on the social network, right? If it's Facebook, right? Are you seeing? So you see in each of them, it's like a mind map. All you need to do is to put the person's Facebook username or the person's Facebook ID, then it will be able to call out information on that particular ID. Same thing happens with, let's say, something like, let's say email address, for instance. Very, very popular. Email address verification. So you want to see if a particular email address is an active email address or it's not an active email address. So you can use this. You can do email tester. You can use verify email. If you tap on it, it will take you to the particular site. Right? So this is just a compendium of several types of ways that you can verify information. Right? Now you now have threat intelligence. So in threat intelligence, you have quite a lot of items in threat intelligence. I'm looking forward to the time I'm going to have time and like do a training series that will cover at least 50 of these items, like in one video, right? I will have the case studies ready and just walk through some of them. Now you see malicious file analysis, right? So if you want to do malicious file analysis, you see search. So are you seeing, these are different websites that you can go search for a particular file. If you want to check, let's say for office file, you can tap on this. It will tell you, okay, office mail scanner. If it's, let's say, PDFs, you want to verify if a particular PDF is malicious, you can click on any of these. It will take you to the site. Okay, so I'm going to pause here for today. I'm going to drop the record available to you. Then I'm going to fix a date where we are going to finish up our script. Then we are going to pick up more OSINT tools, and I'll give us further information with respect to the additional things I want to do between now and the end of the month. Anybody have any question before we call it quit for today?